community, and welcome to day 29 of our AMA series. So, guys, as we move closer to, of course, some major milestones, today's session will all be focused on addressing the some of like community questions that we see come up most often. Okay, so these are the topics that matter the most because they directly affect how you prepare, from the timelines, distribution, development progress, security, and even what to expect up next. So, of course, rather than letting assumptions or the mixed information circulate, we want to walk everyone through these areas clearly in one place and with proper context. So, with that said, let us all welcome our CEO, Nick, who's going to be addressing all of these frequently asked questions for the community. So, hi, Nick. Welcome back to Crypto Class.
Thank you, Caitlin. Welcome back, Daily. Welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm just going to step in tonight. I'm going to obviously cover a lot of the major milestones for the project. Today we'll be covering and answering a lot of the questions. Just to note that all of the various AMAs are being loaded and have been loaded on our YouTube channels along with the transcripts. So that's going to make for ease of reference. I know, Kate, that over the last 2 days we were covering the wallet solutions and how people can add, the various how people can add the network to the various wallets that are available. We utilize the MetaMask and the Trust Wallet as examples. We then obviously, you and I, tested by sending, VDAG to each other, as well as then verifying that on the Block Explorer. So just one quick reminder for everybody. Obviously, our team will never DM you first. We'll never ask for your seed phrase or private keys, and never request additional payments to be made. Always verify information through our official channels only. So let's just really get started. I'm excited about today as we're going to be covering a lot of the major milestones for the project. Just note, we're also updating all of this content on our site. I know there's some questions pertaining to some of these critical dates and timelines. So let's just talk about the dates. For starters, everyone wants to know, here's what's being confirmed. We're closing pre-sale. Yes, a big one there. So pre-sale is closing. And then Thursday and Friday this week, I'll have then the full tokenomics vesting schedule AMA, like everybody wanted. We're going to be spending, I'm pointing to Jeremy, who you can't see you couldn't see today, but Jeremy and myself and the team will be going through now the final contracts, final vesting, all the allocations that I've been saying that people have been messaging me will be made as we're going to gear up now for the full tokenomics vesting. Obviously, Kate, and we needed to close the pre-sale in order for us to do that final allocation. So very exciting from that point of view. End of January is then, which is obviously this week as well. So a lot's happening this week. As we said, Incarnation launch, which is then the stepping stone for mainnet. As we all know, that means that dashboards will be updated and complete allocation will then be made based on the Thursday, Friday AMA with the full tokenomics investing. And then we have our mainnet launch and our token generation event. So it's right on top of each other. Our token generation event's on the 11th. And that's going to be a big day in BlockDAG's history. Why is that important? Because everybody's going to get the value that they've paid for in the actual self-custodial wallet address. So it's a really big day. Once then we have then completed TGE, we then go into February the 16th. As we know, our exchange listings go live. I've got a number of new exchanges actually that I have added, which is fantastic. I'm looking at widening the spread. I know there's been a lot of community engagement around various exchanges, and I can safely say that over the course of the weekend, I've managed to land one or two new exchanges. So I'm very, very excited about that. It just gives us a wide spread of exchanges that the community can access. One thing just wanted to note there on that is that with the exchanges, just so we can reinforce this, Caitlin, as we said, there's no KYC process to claim your tokens. However, there will be, and there, I'm sure, KYC AML processes with various exchanges. So that may mean that you might need to register with the exchanges through their KYC AML process in order for you to start accessing their services. So just check with the various exchanges on that. Let's just address the community vote again on the bonus compressions, as this has generated a number of questions. The community recently voted on bonus compressions to ensure that there's long-term product and project sustainability. The results shows a strong support for responsible tokenomics, as we've already alluded, and the outcome of that was a bonus compression of the bonus allocation was implemented. What does this mean? This means that your base pre-sale tokens remain unchanged. Only your bonus allocations were effective, and this was obviously made democratically by our community. It was the first referendum that we held. We're going to have a number of these referendums going forward, specifically when it comes to the opening up of the mining pools as and when that distribution takes place. So it creates a much healthier tokenomic structure for our long-term growth, and this obviously also prevents short-term speculation and supports genuine ecosystem development, which we'll get into in a moment. When this is updated during the course of the week and then prior to that next week, these separate sections will then clearly be displayed. Our total BDAG tokens available, the total bonus coins available, and then obviously, as everyone's been asking, the Tapminer bonus points and the compression thereof. So that's already been announced on previous AMAs, Caitlin, as you know. So if anybody wants to go and reference the previous AMAs, please go do so on the YouTube channel. Obviously, each section will show you your allocation and applicable vesting schedule. It's quite critical. So there's been quite a few questions pertaining, okay, well, my BDAG's on the 40-20-20-20 rule, versus then the bonus tokens. What does that look like? Versus then the Tapminer allocation. What does that look like? And then obviously that will then all be applicable as per the dashboard vesting schedule. From a distribution perspective, many have asked exactly how you receive your BDAG tokens, and I can just give you a very simple methodology for that. So all pre-sale purchases will be distributed by the claiming process. What does that mean? That means that you log in utilizing your wallet address that you use to purchase your BDAG. You would need to do that if you purchase BDAG during different wallets. Yes, so you would need to go through the process, through the dashboard to claim and using your registered wallet following the token generation event. What does this mean? This means that obviously we are verifying that the wallet address is then attributed to that BDAG allocation. And we're going through, I think it's important to note, Caitlin, that now that we're closing our pre-sale, which is fantastic, the 5-step verification process that we go under is that we're compiling all the purchase records, including the amounts, the promotional codes used, the bonus allocation. We're then actually using Incarnation to do the complete distribution. So we're testing that in Incarnation to ensure that there's validity across the board with regards to the smart contracting. Jeremy, who's looking at me now, knows this, is that we actually take all that data, we take the smart contract, and that's what we're actually going to audit. So there is a triple verification with our third party, Hellborn and Certic, that are actually going to audit the vesting schedule along with all the token allocations and our smart contract. So we're ensuring that there is almost like a triple threat there of security centered around the auditing, which is fantastic. Then we make the dashboard update. So your back office dashboard will then be updated to show exact allocations. So you can see the process that we're following. And then once verified, we then distributing on mainnet, which is going to be amazing. And note, obviously, on-chain confirmation, all transactions are on-chain and immutable. So that's the 5-step process that we are following, just for everyone's benefit. I'm just going to reinforce it if you don't mind. Data collection, we're testing the validation along with the auditing with our third-party auditors. We then have our dashboard updates. We then have our mainnet deployment, and then we have obviously on-chain verification. So really simple process, 5-step process that we're undertaking. From a technical perspective, if you want to just talk technology, we all know hopefully what a block DAG is. It is a DAG architecture with parallel processing It's fully EVM compatible for smart contracts. So there's been some questions pertaining to that. I know Jeremy and the guys are hard at work with some final tweaks, and obviously we've been targeting 2000 TPS for our mainnet launch. What does this mean? This means that we're also able to handle concurrent block production through parallel execution. So it's a fantastic piece of technology. Cannot wait to reignite our grant program, our developer community on our roadmap. So as you know, BlockDAG allows for multiple blocks to be produced simultaneously rather than sequentially. This solves contention issues and maintains predictable execution under load. We reach consensus through deterministic ordering and the heaviest connectivity assumptions rather than the longest chain. So we've explained this. Jeremy went into a lot of detail the other night on that. And I'm very proud of the technology. For developers, our EVM compatibility means the following. Standard Ethereum development tools work seamlessly. Solidity contracts function as expected. Web3 libraries are fully compatible. So very simplistically there. We're moving into security audits. We have professional audits underway with the TGE event as well as the and Hellborn. And this is obviously a non-negotiable for us. I've just showed you the 5-step process that we're going to be undertaking for the TGE event, as well as then obviously the claim process, which will then airdrop to the community, which is going to be amazing. Just so you all know, we're also using Stratum V2 mining protocol, which is fully integrated and operational. I know there's been a number of individuals that have been connecting to our DevNet environment, just so that that is the DevNet environment, and that is bound to be as you know, extremely hard at work on the updating of our academy. So our BlockDAG Academy has various courses for technical training, and we're going to have the invite-only hardening hackathons, which will be focused on, network stress testing. So that's actually in motion at the moment. And then obviously post this, we have full developer documentation API guides for mainnet. We're going to resume our buildathon programs, and then our grant programs, obviously for serious builders, will then start to kick off again. And we'll obviously have complete contract addresses and tooling. So, we're not working within the testnet or the DevNet environment anymore. This becomes an ecosystem play, and it becomes a fully decentralized layer 1 solution. So very exciting times ahead. And yes, you can create custom tokens on BDAG as its EVM compatible platform. You can deploy your tokens and DeFi protocols just like you can on Ethereum. So Caitlin, I'm excited. Me, how I keep on talking to you about certain projects that you're launching. Excited potentially to see those also on BlockDAG going forward. So it's an exciting time ahead as we launch mainnet. Certainly, you can join the BlockDAG Academy. We have our major AMAs planned now, Caitlin, and you'll see now that we're closing pre-sale and we're gearing up for TGE and we're on mainnet, you'll start to see the AMAs change quite substantially into more of a developer community outreach, what we're doing, what our roadmap looks like, the benefits to the community of the certain protocols that we're going to be implementing going forward. So it really is going to be an exciting time. Certainly from our perspective, just to say some critical information for the community's security. And Caitlin, we spoke about this over the last 2 AMAs, project of this size and of this nature, just make sure that the official mainnet contract addresses will be announced, at the time of our mainnet launch. And obviously this is standard security practice. We certainly are never going to don't interact with contracts claiming to be BlockDAG before our initial announcement. I think that is key. I went and looked on some of the exchanges that we're going to be listed on, and there's already, potentially BDAG tokens that have been created by either community members or, I'm not going to say, irregular members. Always verify through our official channels, our website, our Telegram, our Twitter, which is X, and Discord. Certainly what we won't do from a support perspective, we won't DM you first. We won't ask for your seed phrase. We won't, try and offer fixes in private DMs. It needs to obviously go through our support channel. So again, if you experience any wanted to just changes or allocation concerns, please submit a support ticket with transaction details. These cases are then handled through our support channels and not public forums. I think that's quite important. So from a BlockBack perspective, we're not going to be handling your queries through private forums over this period. From a dashboard update perspective, and I'm sorry, there's quite a lot of information to get through, but again, this is going to be a transcript. This will also be available through the YouTube channel. But I think, Caitlin, there's so many questions pertaining to this step process. I think it's important that I cover everything today. And we'll be unpacking this up until Thursday, Friday, where we'll have, as I said, the tokenomics AMA. So we know some of you have experienced some dashboard display issues. Here's what's happened. Here's what we fixed. Dashboard discrepancies were obviously in some instances due to indexing and aggregation issues, not missing funds, all transactions that were valid and are on chain. So our complete dashboard updates are being deployed, and this will resolve a lot of the display issues. What you'll then see, as we just said, accurate total of your BDAG token allocations, the correct bonus token allocations, converted the tap miner points into BDAGs, clear vesting schedule details. So I think that's very important because everyone wants to know, well, I've got tap miner points and they've converted to BDAGs. What's the vesting schedule? I've got bonus tokens. What's the difference in the vesting schedule compared to, my real BDAG? So all of that is going to be available in the dashboard. And then there's on the node operator rewards. I've just explained how we're going to be dealing now that we close pre-sale. Well, we're closing pre-sale, so we're going to be finalizing the node operator rewards, the hack wallet reimbursements, and then there is the X30 minor payment allocations that a number of individuals have been running, and we said we would provide them with BDAG for that. In progress is our finalizing of our Buildathon payments, grant payments, and various other allocations, as I've already mentioned. From an exchange listing perspective, 16th of February, big date. We'll be listing on multiple exchanges. I've just signed up 2 new exchanges over the course of this weekend. I'm over the moon about that. And trust me, it's worth the wait. Different exchanges, as I've already said, may have different KYC requirements, and you might need to complete those KYCs according to each exchange's individual policies if you wish to trade on those platforms. From our side, obviously, we will announce through our specified channels. There will obviously be, a clearly step-by-step process on instructions. It was quite interesting, Caitlin. I had quite a few responses of users or community members using different wallets. Obviously, that same process of adding a custom network will be relevant, but in some instances, you needed the contract address, and that obviously will be provided once we launch mainnet. So you'll then have all the contract address and the Genesis block, as everybody's been asking for validation. From a hardware perspective, for those who purchased the X30 and the X100 miners, payments have been completed. As I said, units are going to be delivered according to the supplier schedules, and that's exactly the same for the X100. We appreciate your patience on this, and we're going to ensure that all hardware is distributed in a timeless fashion. So it's key to the network, as we've been saying, and I thank a number of the individuals that have been testing the X30 and the X100s already. We've had some video confirmation of that. So we're well underway to launching, as well as obviously the distribution. And that, it covers obviously our prepared updates. And just when it comes to another couple of questions, Caitlin, there's obviously been some questions pertaining to, price predictions and the like. Obviously, can't guarantee set prices. All that I know is that we have an exciting roadmap ahead from a technology perspective, adding tremendous value to our mainnet underlying core chain offering, as well as a number of new partnerships that I'm going to be announcing within the coming months. So there's going to be an immense amount of utility. I know from Jeremy and the rest of the team, our staking contract has been well tested. That's immediate utility for our ecosystem, for the community. So make sure that you utilize that staking contract, which then obviously rewards you with additional BDAG from a mainnet perspective. So there's quite a lot of functionality in that staking contract, and it's taking shape. So a ready utility from day one. So thank you for joining this AMA. I think here are the key takeaways. Our pre-sale's closing. Yay! I think it's the biggest news for the community and obviously for the team. And it's an exciting time in our future. That means I can do full tokenomics AMA on Thursday, Friday. Our dashboards are going to be updated. And then what's coming soon is mainnet TGE. Very exciting time. So as you can see, this is, next 2 weeks is just all systems go. Sorry, looking at Jeremy, he's excited as I am. Exchange listings on the 16th. So please stay connected. Join our daily AMAs. There's going to be a lot going on. We're going to unpack a lot more as we gear up for the final dates. Follow our official social media channels. Check your dashboard regularly if you haven't done so already. Review our FAQ documents. There's a lot of content that's going to be produced now and displayed on the website as well as the dashboard. Calmly here, Caitlin, we're building something special. We certainly are doing it the right way with security, transparency over the last 29 AMAs that you and I have been on together. Community's at the center of this, and I'll see you on the next AMA. So, as I said, very exciting. We're closing pre-sale, and it's exciting time. So, if you haven't yet participated in our pre-sale event, it is closing. And I'd urge you to participate if you haven't done so yet. And just stay tuned for all of these points to be included in Marcus's avatar that will then form part of the AMA series uploaded on YouTube. And as you can hear, deliveries taking place. We're ensuring that there is a 5-step plan for security audits, as well as ensuring that we deliver on our TGE and the expectations of the community, as well as exciting news around the 16th and additional exchanges that I've locked already into this launch. So great time in our history, and look forward to the next AMA. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Nick. And that brings us to the end of today's AMA. So once again, thank you, Nick, for all of those clarity, the alignment, and we love actually hearing everything from you directly. And I think it's really making sure that everyone understands where we are, what's coming next, and how each step fits into the bigger picture. So guys, as shared, right, the days ahead include key events like the pre-sale closing, which is technically today, the dashboard updates coming up soon, the incarnation, mainnet, TGE, and even the confirmed exchange listings with some of the most important updates that you need to take notes on. So I think, guys, it's important to remember that all of these updates that's been shared with us aren't just announcements, but they really reflect the months of preparation across the development, the infrastructure, the security, and even the operation. So I believe the team is really prioritizing the stability, all the transparency, and the long-term sustainability over rushing timelines. And I think everything today has been aligned with what we know. So, as always, guys, please stay vigilant, verify information only through the official blog tag channels, and take the time to review the dashboard updates as they roll out next week, of course. So, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your patience and support. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 3 p.m. ETC here at Crypto Clash. That's all, guys. Bye-bye and see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.